Mark the Movie Man here with the final cut. And yes, we are covering the Midwest Weird Fest and a Night of Horror International Horror Film Festival. And I am here with Tyler Eaton, who just had a world premiere, Public Eyes, first time on his film, which is a religious horror comedy, Mysterious Ways. How do you feel it went?
I feel like it went really well. We had a room full of like horror fans, and here at the Mycon Downtown Cinema in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, a night of horror festival. Yeah, it was awesome. It got laughs and in the right places, and people were quiet in the right places. I don't know. I felt pretty good about it.
Did you have some nerves beforehand on wondering if where your laugh's going to hit or not? Because comedy is a tough gig.
Comedy's hard. Yeah, I definitely did. That's just always going to be the trepidation with going into any screening for this movie. Is just like, who's going to be there? Who's going to be like mildly offended and like the whole time? Like I don't know how religious people are, or if they are religious, if they're open to laughing about it. Because there's all kinds of religious people. Some people are very uptight. Some people are totally loosey goosey and don't mind. So yeah, with writing this script, I definitely was trying to be cognizant of. Yeah, I didn't want to make the movie just wildly offensive to Christians and just like bash my childhood as a pastor's kid over and over. That wasn't what I set out to do. And I have a lot of friends who are Christians, and they would read the script, especially my friend who literally is named Christian, and he gave it his seal of approval, and so that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like the kind of Christian that I like hanging out with, they're cool with this sort of comedy. And then people who are like adamant atheists, they also find it funny. So yeah, I was trying to somehow find the middle ground where both those people could find the movie and enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, I think it was successful because it felt like you had a good balance in there, and there was nothing, I think, to take personal. The most you have is extreme personalities, which I've met some of those personalities myself. And you have a youth group in here where you're drawing a bit from your own experiences from youth groups.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We did plays. We made a movie themed on the end of time, on the apocalypse. And we did all kinds of stuff. We prayed in tongues. We would like get prayed, the whole like laying on hands thing and like falling out in the spirit. So like that stuff, I'm not just trying to be like, this is stupid. It's just like, this is part of my childhood that I think is kind of funny and unique. And, so I just wanted to put it on display and be like, how can I not share this? like it was an interesting time. We had a church at our house growing up, and so people were at our house till 2:00 in the morning, just like rolling on the floor, laughing hysterically, falling out in the spirit, and they're having a good. So like, there's a mix of good and weird and bad, and like, but yeah, I was very involved with my youth group, and I read 41 Left Behind for Kids books. There's 40.
There's 41?
I don't think they kept going because Jesus comes back in the last one.
I think spoiler.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler. But he trounces the army of the Antichrist in the end. And but there's like kids getting their heads chopped off, and there's like forced to get the mark of the beast, and like it's an intense thing to like sell to children. And so I just felt like reflecting on that,
Might as well put demons in my film, which looked fantastic, by the way. I loved the makeup effects. You mentioned you shot this in 11 days. How challenging was that with the makeup? And I'm not even talking about some of the blood effects in here. I'm talking about just that makeup effects on your demons.
So we had a great special effects makeup artist, Danica Karolinski. She, worked with us in pre-production extensively, and we tried out a bunch of different techniques, and we kind of had to time it out and do tests and be like, okay, so how long does this actually take from start to finish for the full Ashtaroth, the dancing demon look on Bethany? And then there are other characters that get possessed. Some days we had 5 possessed characters in the same room at the same time. And, so that's 10 hours of makeup, and in 11 days there's no wiggle room. So we had to our call sheet had to be very specifically laid out. So it's like, okay, this person can do their non-makeup scene, their non-possessed scene at the top of the day. Then they got to go right to makeup, and then we shoot these other scenes while these people are not possessed, and then they get possessed, and they have to go into makeup. And it was just like mind-boggling trying to figure it out with Danica and our producer Lauren Gilbert, and like Yeah, I mean, luckily we just had an awesome team helping us figure out the timing of all that. Yeah, we had one day where one of our assistant makeup artists got sick, and so it was all on Danica to like double time, and but we made it work. You know, we got a movie.
You made it work, and you got some wonderful dance numbers in here. Who did the choreography for that?
Varta Tarosian. She's also a filmmaker, writer, director, and she used to be my neighbor. I like met her in my laundry room in Hollywood and was just like telling her that the dryer was broken, and then we got to talking about how we're into filmmaking,
Sure.
and then later on I was telling her about my movie and how there's like some dance sequences because this is probably too much detail, but like there's the dancing plague and like Strasbourg. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wanted to use that as like, sort of like the real life basis for what happens in the movie.
Sure.
Like, okay, so there's a dancing plague. People would dance apparently for a month without stopping, and nobody knew why. And like they tried all these crazy things in France to get them to stop, and like playing instruments and yada yada. So I'm like, what would be like a modern version of that for my youth group story? And so therefore there was a lot of dance in the movie. My sister did a lot of praise dancing in our church growing up, so I'm like, okay, I can pull from that. There's my dancing elements
There's your
right
dancing
there.
elements.
So I have to find a great choreographer. And yeah, we did like 4 or 5 rehearsal days, like 3-hour rehearsals. And that's kind of how our cast came together and bonded. Like Brandon and Alyssa are 2 stars. They'd never worked together before.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
had to play brother and sister
Sure.
who'd known each other their whole lives. And so like getting those dance rehearsals together is how they got to know each other and become friends before the shoot. So we kind of just accidentally landed on that.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, based off of the audience reaction here, you have yourself a winner, I think, for sure. Where does it go from here?
We're playing Poppy Jasper Festival on April 11th in Gilroy, California. We are playing the Phoenix Festivals. They have a horror and sci-fi like mini festival within their festival. We're playing there April 5th, 12th, and 13th. And then we're waiting to hear back on a bunch of other festivals. And then eventually distribution, whether that's self-distribution or we find a distributor to put us on Tubi and all
All
the
that
usual
fun stuff,
suspects.
yeah.
Shudder, I would be great.
Right.
You know, whatever we can get would be awesome. It's a little tiny movie, and we're just crossing our fingers that enough people like it to, you know, get more eyeballs on it.
Well, I don't think that'll be a problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
Oh, sick.